Good afternoon. Thank you for those who have joined already. My name's Ashley Hall and I'll be taking this webinar today. Just to let you know, we'll be starting in 4 minutes just to give a chance for everyone to turn up on time. The scheduled start will be 4 p.m. If you have any questions or if there's anything you're actually interested that we cover from the start, please do use the brainstorming document on the right-hand side to the YouTube video. It's an empty doc. It's available for anyone to edit. You don't need a Google account. If you can just pop some questions in there, or if there's something you particularly like to cover, I'd be happy to take a look at that document so we can cover it from the start. Thank you. And for those who've just joined, thanks for coming along. My name's Ashley Hall. I look after the Google Apps suite for small and medium businesses in UK and Ireland. Very happy to have you here. If you wouldn't mind, on the right-hand side of this YouTube video, it's worth having open the brainstorming document that I've added there. It'd be really great if, just for a bit of context, you let me know where in the UK you are and what sort of system you're on there. More importantly, if there's any questions you have there, I'd be happy to tackle those at the end. So I'm joining you here live from a chilly Dublin. Happy to take any questions as we go along. So let me just tack over to the presentation here. The aim of this webinar is to give you an overview of what you can do with Google Apps. And we're going to talk about the suite that you get, the suite of applications, why they're a bit different to probably what you're running now, and then some of the advantages of using the Google Apps for Business suite. And I'll point out at the end, if you do choose to sign up, if you want to start a trial, be happy to point you in the right direction there. So I sit in a part of Google called Google Enterprise. We have developed applications that run for businesses. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about Google Apps, but we also deal with the Google Maps, which is the geo side of our business. We also sell Chromebooks to businesses. That's one of the best-selling consumer laptops there. We've got, if you're looking to reduce your IT costs and you're interested in hardware, reducing hardware costs, then Chromebooks are definitely worth a look at. For the developers out there, we've got Cloud Platform where you can send us over your code and we execute it on our server to reduce your hardware costs in-house. And we've also got internal search. So if you're looking to have a Google-like search of all the documents that are stored in your company, we can also facilitate that for you. So if we're focusing on the Google Apps suite here, you're probably most of you familiar with Gmail. It's now the most popular personal web service, and it actually was the core of our suite when we started Google Apps in 2006. This allows you to log into any web browser, to use your smartphone or your tablet, or even a traditional desktop program like Outlook to pick up your email. You'll send and receive email as your corporate identity instead of an @gmail.com account. So this is actually what Jaguar Land Rover and The Guardian use for their email, and you don't know that that's obviously their back end there, but it affords, you have the professional email and you afford your users the flexibility of being able to pick up email how they like. Most usefully, maybe if we have another snow day, you're not tethered to your computer at your desk. You can access your email from home and there's no need for a VPN. It's really simple as going to gmail.com, logging with your corporate email address, your name at yourcompany.com, and then you get access to your corporate email there. It's even as useful as the whole Google Apps Suite is in fact designed to be device agnostic. So it doesn't matter if you're on the way to work, on the train, tapping up an email into the Gmail app on your iPhone. You then continue the draft in Outlook on your desktop there. And as I said, if you need to access any of your past email from home, if you perhaps forgot to send an email at work, you can just bring it up in the web browser at home. So device agnostic and designed to work with existing software as well. Now, some of you may have already got stuck in on your personal accounts to Google Docs and Google Drive. This was released in April 2012. Really excellent service that allows you to upload your old documents to the cloud. So if you've got Microsoft Word, you've got OpenOffice files, you can drop those into the cloud. It supports any file format. So it allows you to share documents in your team, access your documents from any modern web browser there. So say you need to open a document that you started at work, continue editing it at home. You don't need to carry around USB sticks anymore or email files to yourself. You can just access them on the go, it's just like where you can access your email on the go. It allows you to access your documents on the go. There's an application for Windows and Mac that will always keep the documents you have on your computer synced up with your Google Drive. Always got a copy on the cloud there, which is nice and useful. Now the cool bit of Google Drive is the Google Docs suite, which is it's web-based document editing, spreadsheet editing, presentation editing, and drawing editing. What does that mean? So what you're actually looking at on this screen share is the Google Presentation suite. This whole presentation has been made not in a piece of software that's installed on the desktop, but from within the web browser. So I've just navigated to docs.google.com. I've logged in with my account, my corporate Google account there, and I've created a complete slideshow for you. So I haven't actually gone into full screen mode, so you can actually see what's happening here. So this is Chrome, so we're actually running a tab inside Chrome. But from here I can do all the normal things such as add a new slide, insert images and text boxes, word art. It takes all the benefits of having a desktop-based application and puts it into the web. What does that mean practically? It means that I'm actually presenting here from a Mac, but I could be presenting from a Windows computer or a Chromebook. And similarly also means that I don't have to have a heavy desktop piece of software installed at home if I want to continue editing this document at my home PC, which is a Windows computer. I don't need to have any expensive software installed. So another way to Google Apps is going to reduce your IT costs is that you don't need to have a continual race to have the most up-to-date version of a desktop Office editing suite. It's all done in the web browser, and that software is included in your subscription cost to Google Apps. As I mentioned there at the start, please don't hesitate to, on the right-hand side of the YouTube video, open up the brainstorming document, drop in any questions that pop to mind. I'd be more than happy to cover them at the end there. So, a functionality that quite a lot of businesses have managed to implement is the calendar function. You may be using it in a personal context already, using Google Calendar to organize your personal life there, but it can be deployed in an organization as well. The nice thing with Google Calendar is a really nice, simple interface. You just choose a bit of white space where you want your event to be, and you can invite people inside and outside your organization there, and it sends them an invite that they can accept, decline, or add a maybe to. We use it all the time here. You can even actually set up the meeting rooms in your company as calendars, so people can book rooms through Google Calendar, which is a really nice function. It stops any conflicts over rooms or any paper sign-up sheets. People can also access their calendars on the go, so if you're caught away from your computer and you need to see where your next meeting is, it's a simple case of opening up the Google Calendar app on your phone or having it synced to the calendar app in maybe iMac Mail. If you're using Outlook, you can have the calendar synced there, and you've got your agenda straight there. So a common function here is that these are web-based software. You can go to google.com/calendar, or you can pick it up on your mobile device or in a traditional piece of software. As I said, these are device agnostic. This is a device agnostic platform. Another nice feature is Google Sites, which allows you to have private internal team and project websites or knowledge sites. It's a very simple, what you see is what you get website editor. It allows anyone, even with no website or coding experience, to start a team website. So in our team, we'd have the team news, the latest news about Google Apps, and it keeps all that information centrally and in a store. So when someone joins our team, they can just go through our team website and all the resources are up there. There's no case of having to print lots of documents off and print handbooks off. All our team policies, all of our workflow information is up on that internal website. It's been made by someone, by a manager who didn't need to know how to code. It's very easy. You click Add Page, Upload File, and that's shared for just the people in the organization you choose. So you can make it public inside the organization, so anyone inside the company can see it, or you could choose for it to be only accessible to one team. So that's sharing settings up to you there. And something that runs through this is because we're so keen on getting you to run the applications through the web browser, we do recommend you use Google Chrome there. It's now also the most popular web browser because it's super quick. It's got lots of add-ons available for it. But Google Chrome was made in mind for the idea that we should be moving away from running clunky programs on our desktop that take ages to load, shifting over to creating documents in the web browser, editing in the web browser, just living your entire day with tabs in Chrome there. So actually, when I go to work, I don't have any other programs installed except for web browsers. All my work is online, and there's no need to have any desktop software installed there. So let's just going to check if there's any questions. Great to see you. Some of you have opened the document there. Don't be shy. Do let me know where you're calling in from. I'll just add, I'm obviously Ashley, and I'm presenting here from Dublin. So don't hesitate to add that to the document there. I've had a couple of times when two people from the same county, pretty close together, have been watching the webinar, so don't hesitate to say hi. Right, so what's the fuss with moving to the web browser? Why would we be advocating you to move away from desktop software? Well, apart from the reduced cost of not having to keep up and keep buying the new versions of desktop software, because actually Google Apps is always getting better and we don't charge you for incremental software updates, you just pay for the subscription to Gmail. You may have noticed that Gmail and Google Docs has changed quite a lot since it was launched, and there's new features added all the time, and there's never any additional cost to those. You just need to log on and you've got the most up-to-date version of the software running because you're effectively just running a website there. So one of the main advantages of working in the web is that you can collaborate with people. If you have a desktop file that's stored somewhere on your computer, it's actually very difficult for someone else in the organization to access that. Even if you drop it into a network shared drive, if you have a shared drive there, you may see an error message quite often, which looks like this. Working in the past means that documents get locked if one person is editing it. And yet, the contradiction is that businesses, or from what I hear, want to be working more in teams and more collaboratively. And that's just really a barrier. Having desktop software and network stored files is not ideal. If you're working on any of the Google applications that are running in the web browser, we allow a very large number of people to be actually editing the same document. So if you see here, you've got that's 11 people are in the document. And the really cool thing is there is no save button. All changes are automatically saved. And you can actually see what other people are editing at the same time. So what you've seen there, this brainstorming doc that I've got open here, you're actually all collaborating on a questions doc that I'm going to work with you on. You actually see there's no save button, and there's people distributed throughout the UK and Ireland watching this, and you can just jump on here and add your changes, and there's no need to click save or email updates. So really, any version control issues are solved here. If you've ever had the problem of having to send version 5.4 across email to someone and then making a change, and then you need to merge the documents together, that's all gone now. Google Docs is really cool because it runs in the web browser and it's easily shared. So you can see here, this team is writing in Latin for some reason, and they're making a Project Everest proposal. It's a very social experience as well. You've got in-document chat. So if I'm working with someone who's based in America, someone's based over in the UK, I can easily chat with them while they edit the document. Each person's changes are shown in a different color there, so you can see where they're working on. Now the sharing settings are really nice. So you can actually share with people inside your organization and choose their permissions level. So maybe this is a document that you want someone to fully come in and help you write the document in full. So I give them editing rights. But perhaps some other people in the company, I just want them to be able to view the document as a reference file. Maybe if it was a really important central process document, a workflow document, most people in the team I'd just set to viewing rights. So you can see here, you can set someone can just open the document but not make any changes. And actually in this case, you see Chi Huang is actually from a partner company. So if someone else is running Google Apps for Business, or they have a personal Gmail account, you can share it with them outside your organization. The document you're actually working on there, the brainstorming document, that's one that's been created inside the organization, but I've actually changed the permission settings that anyone outside the organization without login can edit it. The default is that only you can see the document and edit it, but you can go to the other extreme of letting everybody edit should you wish, should you really need to collaborate with someone outside the firm, which is what we're effectively doing now. Brilliant. I can see there that there's been quite a few people joined just a little bit late there. Just to introduce myself, my name's Ashley Hall. Please do open the brainstorming document. I've been referring to this quite a few times, sorry for the repetition. There's a brainstorming document. It doesn't require a sign-in, and it's on the right-hand side of the YouTube video. Feel free to open that up and add any questions. Just mention where you're from. It'd be nice to hear from you there, if anything comes to mind as we go through the presentation here. We've been talking about Google Docs so far and how that fits into the Google Apps Suite. Now I'd like to move on to Gmail. So a lot of you would be familiar with using that in a personal context there, but it really comes into its own when everyone in an organization is using it. It's actually got video chat built into it. So rather than having to pick up the phone or having to walk over to somebody's desk, especially if they're based globally, you can just open up a Hangout straight from the chat function. Quite recently, we've introduced something called Hangouts, which allows up to 15 people to jump into a video conversation, work on a document, and there's no extra cost to this. Video conferencing solutions normally cost an arm and a leg, but all you need is a modern web browser, a modern computer with a decent internet connection, and you can have proper virtual meetings here. So you can see here that there's been a thread of conversations between Barbara and the external supplier there, and it's easy to hang out with people inside the organization or outside if needs be. In fact, what you're actually watching is something called a Hangout on Air. I'm using the Google Apps Suite to run, because obviously there's going to be more than 15 people viewing this presentation. I've selected a function where it's publicly available on YouTube. So if you want to connect with tons of customers at a time, you want to run a webinar as well, that's actually everything I've used to make this Hangout here is included in the Google Apps Suite. So it's something you can absolutely do yourself. So Gmail, for those who aren't familiar, has got a really nice threaded conversation view. So you don't get a long list of emails in your inbox regarding the same subject. They all get merged into the same thread there, so you keep everything together. And if you prefer to use your traditional desktop program, we support Outlook, and we support any client that is okay with receiving email via IMAP. Interestingly, on the right-hand side, if you're using Google Docs as well, recent documents will be shown, and also recent email conversations will be shown there. There's also Google Plus integration, so you can circle up with that person and receive updates from their Google Plus profile. Okay, now this bit's really cool. And the way I've normally talked to customers about this is that they come and ring us, and they know that Google's very good at mobile. We've obviously got our own operating system called Android, but the real push in firms to go towards the cloud is that employees are bringing their own devices to work. It's called the consumerization of IT. It's funny how people are getting better IT for Christmas than it's actually affordable to keep providing with them at work. So they'll be bringing their iPads, they'll be bringing their shiny new Android tablets. And these are actually extremely powerful computers that are sitting idle for most of the day in their pockets. If they feel that they want to pick up email on the go, if they are happy to clear their inbox on the way into work, if they've got that dead time, you can actually empower them to securely connect their iPhone or Android to your corporate system to pick up documents and email. The crucial thing is we give you mobile device management for free. So if someone loses their device, you can actually wipe it, but without affecting their personal files and their personal folders there. You just wipe the corporate data off of it, and you can also locate the device from the Google Apps control panel. So it's really a way of allowing people to securely bring their own devices to work, which allows people to work the way they used to living. So other way around, they work the way they live. They bring their own devices and the ones they're comfortable with using at home into a work context. And it also cuts IT costs. If you don't have to maintain something like a BlackBerry server, you don't have to provide them with a second phone, which often people don't want to carry around 2 devices. This allows you to do that there. A benefit of what you see in this screenshot, working in the past, you often have problems if you have to transport files around. You have to put them on memory sticks and then plug them into your home device, which adds a layer of security issues if you're worried about people losing these memory sticks. If you get people to upload all their files to Google Drive, then that's accessible from an Android or iOS app, and they've got all their documents there. They can open it up, make the changes that they need without ever having the data having left the corporate system. It's still in the Google Drive, it's still in your part of the Google Apps suite, and if someone does lose the device they're working on, just locate and wipe it. For documents you make in Google Docs or for Microsoft files, we actually have editors available for no extra cost. You can actually jump into the document and make changes there. They're optimized for mobile, so you don't get all the annoying toolbars. You just get the ability to make little changes to a document, maybe clarify a few points, a few bullet points there. You can see this as an Android tablet where someone's adding a few lines to a client proposal there. Moving on then. Something I alluded to earlier, and some of you may have missed it if you've just come in late, is that Google Apps, because it's provided through the web browser, that's Gmail and that's the Google Drive and document editing suite, it's always up to date because you're just accessing a website and it's actually on our servers. We do the updates and then push them out to you. So you don't have to worry about doing updates for your Office suite or your email app. Every time you hit Gmail, every time you go to Google Drive, you're running the latest version of what we have. And when we make an improvement, we roll it out to all customers, and there's no extra cost for software upgrades there. So what you're buying is something that's continually evolving and getting better. As a new technology emerges, as people are trying to use their devices differently, we're adapting and trying to get better all the time. So you may have noticed that Gmail's got a new Compose experience, which allows you to multitask really easily, fewer mouse clicks. It's just getting better all the time. It's really nice. So also something I alluded to earlier, version control is normally a pain. By running it through the web browser and everyone editing the same file rather than having to email copies of documents between each other, Google Docs allows you to share files with exactly who need them and give them the appropriate editing rights, and then you're all working from a central document. Here, this is a Google document. It's created by me. As you can see here, it says me. And I have the right to choose who can edit it, and I can revoke that at any time. But we're all working from the same document there and working from the owner's document. That's really nice because everything's central, no duplication. So if you're an IT administrator, you can actually choose how quickly you want our updates to be applied to your domain. So we've got a fast track for people who are keen to see the latest Google features. You can choose this option, and as soon as we make an update, you can roll it out immediately to your domain. We can have a preview period where it allows you to get familiar with the site changes we've made and preview it to your employees, and then roll it out a few weeks later, which is the standard track release option. We've also got an online calendar here. If you're interested, it's whatsnew.googleapps.com. You can see the updates of what's been released. As I said, most recently the Hangouts feature is released, and then we're improving the functionality all the time. So if you're interested, please do head over to that website there. So a really nice advantage of going to Gmail, and you'll be experiencing this if you're a personal user of our email service, is that there's a huge amount of storage. Even this screenshot is a bit out of date. We actually start everybody off with 30 gigabytes of space. That's the standard, and that's the minimum there. That really means, I think the average I speak to on customers, if they're on an Exchange environment there, is normally about 2 gigabytes, and they're encouraged to delete emails. You can only keep a certain amount, and especially if you get a lot of attachments, that's a real pain, because a lot of people use their email as a workflow manager. Like their inbox, the traditional inbox, which is sat on your desk, is now actually in your computer. You have to deal with the emails that come in, save some for future reference, and actually some documents you received by email 3 years ago, such as a contract or just maybe there's an email that sits in your head. You're like, I know I was speaking to that person a few years ago or someone else from that company. And if you want to restore that, it's no good if your company's got a policy of encouraging you to delete email all the time. The 30 gigabytes we give every employee by default encourages them never to delete emails. It keeps that reference, it keeps that super important information in your firm and not at the whim of limited storage space on your server. So really it gives your employees the flexibility there to store what they need. As an administrator on Google Apps, you can actually choose which of the Google services you allow your employees to access. So in some situations, if you've got you don't want to move your employees over to Google Email, you can just allow them to use the Google Drive, the document backups, and the document editing suite. That's quite common now. Some customers are even choosing just to use the Google Plus suite. Google Plus I haven't covered in much depth, but it essentially gives your firm, it's very good for larger firms as well, if it gives you an internal social network there. So you can restrict, you can allow for, employees to connect socially inside your firm, to post sensitive information on the network, and restrict it to that posting to just inside your firm. So this is getting increasingly important as the social network generation is moving into the workplace there. People feel it more natural to want to share buzz, share industry news, share articles they found in some form, but it's a bit annoying when you receive an email sent to entire teams, and then people replying all commenting on the article say it's much nicer and much more natural to post it to a social network, and that's something that just is included in Google Apps. In the same sense, if you feel that your firm's not ready for that, as a domain administrator, you can turn off that functionality and that's removed from the users. It's you as an administrator who chooses which Google Apps to allow your users to use. We're very proud of our reliability. We make it completely public, and you can right now go on to google.com/apps status. We break down the availability of all our apps, and we actually financially guarantee that our services are going to be available to you 99.9% of the time. We give service credits if we miss that, and we actually use Google Apps as well at work. So if it's down for you, it's down for us, and that's not ideal. We're very proud of how reliable our services are. I most commonly talk to a common push factor away from existing IT infrastructures is that there's very poor reliability, and you get like maybe two hours down of email. And really, with firms relying on email so much now for external orders, for communicating internally, it's just this is a crucial part of your infrastructure, and we guarantee its uptime to 99.9%, usually even higher. A valid question I get asked by customers is, if I'm moving my documents and my apps to the web, and if employees can log in anywhere to access this, is this opening up security issues? Interesting enough, when we make security improvements for our software, we can actually give that at no extra cost to everyone. who is a Google Apps business subscriber, and that's 5 million businesses globally. So our system is always getting more secure. It's actually the connection between you and the server is actually an SSL encryption. So that's the same technology as when you log on to online banking there. So it's a similar principle there. We actually have another feature that's come from online banking. It's called one-time passwords. This means that if someone has managed to, and phishing attacks are common on all sorts of IT systems now, if people manage to get in and steal some of your employees' passwords, if they trick them into giving them away or they accidentally type them into another website, the account isn't compromised, because if someone tries to log in, if you set this as administrator, if someone tries to log in to your system from an unfamiliar location, the account is locked and Google sends a text message or a message to an app installed on your phone into the end user's phone saying, you've tried to log in here, here's a code for you to type in to verify that it's you. So maybe it's the first time they've logged in from the home computer, and that's no problem. They just type in the code we give them and we authorize that device. But if it's someone in another country that's managed to steal their password, they won't be allowed to get in, even though they have the employee's password. Now, for many firms, when I explain this, they actually say, well, we don't even have that technology now, and in fact, it is quite expensive to implement. You need a OTP server. You need to issue your employees with, every one of your employees with a little calculator-like device if you're using it in the traditional way, which can cost $50 to $75 per device. So actually, we can, because we've made this for one customer, we allow everyone to use it and switch this feature on, and it's no extra cost there. So often firms are saying we're actually expecting a high level of security by moving to the cloud, then we can offer our small business, our small and medium business offline, because we just don't have the resources to secure it and keep it up to date and secure. Now, for the last bit of this presentation, I'd really like to have a chat about how ways in which my customers and the customers have switched over to Google have helped their employees deal with the change of modernising the IT system and moving to the cloud. Because really, for them, if that's what they deal with every day, it can sometimes be a bit daunting to hear that now you're going to be using Gmail at work or Google Drive, or whenever IT systems change, you have to absolutely think about change management. And we've got some resources which I'd be happy to point in the right direction about. But I'd just like to remind anyone, if you have any questions, please, wow, there's lots added in there. If you want to throw them into the document there, please do add that. Looks like collaboratively you found a method of adding questions by numbers. That's great. Add them to the bottom there, and I'd be happy to go through them in the next few minutes. So one of the best examples of change management I've seen is in the US, the Weather Channel, which is a very large broadcaster there. Switched all its employees over to Google Apps there, and the way it managed to do that was by identifying key users of the software, people who are going to be using it every day and rely on it absolutely, such as personal assistants. So you've got key users identified. You've then also got people who have used Google at home. So if people are using Gmail or Google Calendar for their personal use, then you can almost dismiss them immediately from their training. It's a case of who's used Google Mail before, okay, you can go back to your desks, you'll be fine. Some other staff who are more familiar with other software, you can get the people who are familiar with Gmail to point them in the right direction. Or as I mentioned, because it's device agnostic, you can actually set their existing software up to work with Google Apps. You could switch them over on a Friday and they wouldn't notice when they got into work on Monday that their email was actually now being channeled through the back end of Google Apps. So, and then when they ask, and often I hear customers say that we'll start them off continue to using Outlook or Thunderbird, but when they start asking for iPhone access, when they start asking for access from home, you can then slowly introduce the idea that you can have the app on your phone, and it just works straight away because the company switched over and the back end is working. And also these things happen in Teams as well, and somebody discovers that you can create a Google document and share that with several people in the team. Often that's how projects develop, and maybe one team will try it for one project and love it. And often the way in which Google Apps is spread to work is by people ringing us up and saying, I've used this at home, I want to somehow get Docs working in my company, how can I do that? So people will probably have used Google Docs at home, and you can really show them the magic of using that at work. So really, the way the Weather Channel did it was making a lot of noise, making people really aware that we're switching over to Google. They got some T-shirts printed, making it really clear who felt people who are tech savvy and the people who had used Google products before got special T-shirts. We find with customers they have a really big switch away from people submitting help desk questions when something goes wrong to just trying to figure out and fixing it themselves. If they can't find out where the compose button is, then you can just Google it, because this software is being used by so many people and it's also consumer software. There's lots of help articles out, and because so many people are enthusiastic about using Google services there's often people in the desk next door that can just pop their head around and point you in the right direction there. So we really see a shift away from support tickets to self-help and collaborative team help as well. Often the way in which Google Docs and Google Drive gets picked up in companies really depends on the team, and it's interesting to hear the use cases people think up about it. So one product I haven't showed you is Google Forms. It actually sits in Google Drive and allows you to create a response form, so an electronic online form, so first name, last name, date of birth, things like this. And businesses using really interesting ways. Sometimes they'll put a form on the website, customers fill it out as a contact form or a sports center booking form, and then Google will then populate those responses into a spreadsheet. Inside that spreadsheet, you can then collaboratively share that with everyone who needs to see it. They can mark jobs as resolved, customers as contacted. You can even start to do calculations. So say you had a lead generation form. You ask customers, how big is your firm when they get in contact with you? You can do an average sum at the bottom of that column, and then find out what the average size of the firm that's getting in touch with you is. So really interesting possibilities, and it's just worth playing with and really empowering employees to start using this web-based technology. There's really a lot of possibilities there. Just to point in the direction, I mentioned already that my favourite case studies of people who switched over to Google Apps is Jaguar and The Guardian in the UK. Also some really other super innovative companies that have chosen to go over, being Tata Group from India. You've got Ocado in the UK, which is revolutionising the supermarket delivery model. You've got Telegraph Media Group in there as well. Several other firms. BBVA is one of Spain's largest banks, so data security is really important to that firm there. I often talk to a lot of startups, and it seems like Google Apps is by far the most popular choice to start off with because it's scalable. It works well with one employee up to 200,000 employees, and it's on a subscription basis, which means cash flow is very cash flow friendly as well. And it's also one of the most advanced ideas in working in the future. As I've tried to cover in this presentation here, it actually allows so many more options for the way people work and for the way they choose to work and when they choose to work and from what device, that people want to start with Google. There's no point in installing legacy systems when the future's available to you now as a new company. I just hope that as an existing company is chatting to you now, that you may be persuaded to consider moving your legacy systems over into opening up those opportunities there. So, thank you very much for your time. If you'd like to add any more questions to the document, please do. I'm just about to open up that doc and start answering them away, so please do drop in there. If you haven't already, I'd be really interested to know where you're dialing into View from today. So I've added to the document I'm dialing in from Dublin. Don't hesitate to write out, if you're from the UK, which county are you from there? Maybe you're from the Netherlands, be interested to know which town you're from there. So don't hesitate, but I'm happy to answer any questions as well. I'll be with you in a moment. Brilliant, we've got plenty of questions here, so straight in, question one. On Google Drive, we love Linux on Ubuntu distribution, just like Google. When will G Drive integrate to Ubuntu? Unfortunately, I don't have the roadmap. I'm not sure when that's happening there. Of course, you've got whatever platform you're on, you've got the web interface there. Obviously, what this question is referring to is when will the desktop application be available there? As I said, I'm not 100% sure, but regardless of platform there, the manual upload to Google Drive function will work. And I'd actually encourage you there to question, maybe you've got specific file formats there, but really Google Apps works really well if you encourage your firms to live in the web browser, to really keep all your work in Chrome tabs, and because, as I've discussed in this presentation, keeping your work in Google Apps allows you to make sure everyone's working from the same version of the file, you're not emailing files to each other there. So really nice to keep the documents there. But I'll be keeping a lookout for the Linux version as well. I hope to see that as well. I run Linux at home, and I'd really like to see that feature as well. Hangouts. Oh, I love these questions. You can tell these are brilliant questions because they're pushing me here. Hangouts. Is it possible to make a Hangout from a landline there? So Google Talk used to have this functionality. Hangouts was replaced Google Talk very recently there. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not aware of the roadmap for voice calls there. So certainly keep an eye out. As I mentioned, when we roll out the feature for one customer, we can roll it out for everyone, and it's getting better all the time. So just keep an eye out there. Keep an eye on the blogs there. I'm not 100% sure if that feature is coming, but again, I'd like to see it as well. A small workaround is that I've managed to put someone on speakerphone and then connect them that way from the phone. That's not ideal, and I'd like to see that feature as well. So the next question is, the largest reports we make are about 80,000 characters. Will Google Docs support such large docs? I've seen really huge docs on Google Documents. I don't see why that would be a problem at all. We can actually do it. There's a nice. So all these questions are publicly available as well. So I'm not going to make a try and fudge my way around. Like, this question would be Google Documents size limits. So we make it fully available here. So documents can be up to just over 1 million characters there. So that's absolutely fine. Spreadsheets 400,000 cells. So do have a look around there. It looks like whoever wrote this has got a sense of humour. Drawings. We've never seen anyone make a drawing that was too big, but that's not a dare. So maybe you can beat Google by making a document that's too big, a drawing that's too big there. But please do have a look through and Google that problem there. Question 4, we receive files from Russia/Far East. Google Translate works very well, except that it doesn't translate the whole document. Are somebody looking into this? So I'm not sure what you're 100% referring to there, because if you look in this document here, if everyone goes to, I think it's under Tools, and then Translate Document, you can actually translate the whole document into all of the languages we support in Google Translate. So that actually changes the whole entire document into French, German, whatever you need it to be. And that creates a copy of the document as well. So if you're really interested to see what these questions look like in Swahili, then just click Tools, Translate Document, Swahili, and it will make a copy for you. How do we wipe a device when an employee leaves the company? So you get in the Google Apps control panel, you get a list of all the mobile devices that are connected to your system. You just have to select their device and click Wipe Corporate Data. Simple as that. To connect a device to the corporate account, people need to install an app called Google Device Policy. So that will receive instructions for the administrator, and it will leave the personal files of the device unaffected, of course. So as soon as I leave Google, which I'm not planning to do, by the way, but if I did, my personal phone, which I own, would stop syncing email, and if my administrator set it that way, you could wipe the emails from that phone. Offline documents appear to work differently on different platforms. On Chrome, it doesn't seem possible to see the folder structure offline, or to just offline specific folders, etc. Yeah, so we try to keep this as simple as possible. In Google Drive, you can enable offline functionality. From my experience, it's synced the last 30 days of activity, unless you've got a really large amount of files. So it keeps the most recent files available for you to edit there. I think, actually, sorry, and that's getting better all the time. So last time I tried it, I was on a plane, and it actually synced all my documents ready to go there. If you have a large amount of documents, that might be different. But, so to answer your question directly, you can't actually choose exactly which documents are synced offline. In my experience, it does all of them, but it tries to keep it simple. It's supposed to be something where offline is a stopgap between where you don't have Wi-Fi connection. Really, it does work best when you do, because it allows you to collaborate. But in my experience, I've been able to edit documents and presentations. It's just managed to remember them in Chrome there. I know you said different platforms there. As far as I can see, it only works when you've got Google Chrome installed on any device, or if you've got any PC rather, and if you've got a Chromebook, it also allows you to sync offline there. But it tries to keep it simple. Employees don't normally want to fiddle around with which devices, which files are available offline. And I maybe the quickest solution to what you're asking, if in this document you see that our documents, our spreadsheets, and our presentations, you can just click File, Download as, Microsoft Word, OpenOffice, PDF. So if someone needs this offline, you can actually just download it as a copy. Question 7. What's the take-up for Google Drive/Docs in small and medium businesses, and what domains and regions? Sorry, I don't work on the technical side. I wouldn't know the breakdown. I talk to every customer about that, just because we use it all the time in Google, and I'd love for every one of the customers I speak to start using it because it's just amazing. I set up my own family. My family has a business, and I set them up with Google Docs before I came to Google because I recognized it was really cool. That's collaboration, and there's no version control. So personally, I recommend that everyone tries it, and sometimes some employees don't want to use it, and that's fine. As I said, it depends on the culture of your firm and how you manage change management. Some firms will say, from day one, we're only using Google Docs, and you have to. Some firms will say, we've got a hybrid approach, and you can start using it when you feel it's going to be of value to your team. As I said, most teams like to use it when they start a project, and they're like, we can keep everything centrally now, or we can collaborate with people outside the organization easily. So it depends on how you want to implement it. I don't have those statistics about the take-up there, but for me, if I was setting up a business, I'd take the whole suite because it's no extra cost. Whether I just use Gmail or use the whole suite, it's the same cost to me. So for me, to get maximum value out of it, I'd use all of it. But if you want to come to us and you just want to use Google Drive, or you just want to use Plus, or you just want to use Gmail, that's absolutely fine. Will the standard 30 gigabytes grow over time as data storage grows, or is it likely to be a fixed limit? Well, the way it works at the moment is that I know there was this expectation on Gmail. It used to work that I think we started everyone off with 1 gigabyte in 2004, and then it grew slowly over time. Now new users are actually just fixed onto 15 gigabytes. We have the same policy for our business version, except we start you off at double that. We start you off 30 gigabytes. If more storage is of interest to you, then it's actually cheapest chips to upgrade and add extra storage. You can have up to 16 terabyte per user. So I think on my personal Google account, I pay something like $5 a month for an extra 100 gigabytes, which does me fine. So if more storage is what you're looking for, then it's very inexpensive to upgrade users individually as they need it. They'll normally only be power users, though. Most people don't have 30 gigabytes, more than 30 gigabytes of personal data there. The pricing, so that was the one I had in my head. If you type into Google storage pricing, then there's more information there if you're interested to know what 16 terabytes would set you back. How does Google support large databases? Typical data received and forecasting covers 800K to 1.2 millions of data with 52 columns. What I'm going to do is copy and paste the link from the limits help section below this question here. So you can really, because I don't remember the numbers off by heart, do jump into the that link I posted and see if that matches. Some people in your organization, if they've got extreme needs, someone in my family is an accountant, and I know he's diehard desktop spreadsheet user. So for some users, they will want to some of their documents they want to keep in the legacy file format, and that's fine because Google Drive supports any file format to upload and store. Online editing is restricted to Google Docs and Sheets formats. So for the member of my family, I know he actually uses Google Drive for the bits he really needs collaboration on. For his hardcore spreadsheets, he does still use a document editor offline. That's completely up to the user there. So if it doesn't work for you straight away, then consider using a offline document editor. I would say that from what I've seen, Google Spreadsheets has been increasing its capacity over time, so hold tight on that. As our servers are upgraded, then that's obviously something I've seen increase in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up in the future. Microsoft Word, because question 11 here, Microsoft Word allows the user to merge two documents. Can Google Docs do this? Yes, I think I'm saying yes because I vaguely remember that there's like a function that sits outside. Is it inside Google Word? Inside Word. I remember that from my days of A-level IT. There's no function that that function doesn't exist in Google Docs. You would just open two documents and copy and paste that from between them. So, no, simple answer. Being honest, there's not that function. Sounds quite specific to me. You can just open the two documents and copy and paste. On a wider note, if you're interested in such niche functionality and you're a programmer yourself, we actually have a JavaScript-based language called Google Apps Script. This stuff gets really cool. So if you wanted to automatically merge documents together, if you wanted to send email notifications to customers who have filled in a form, the Google Apps Script language works across products. So it links the Google Drive suite with the Gmail suite, with the Calendar suite, and there's lots of publicly available scripts that people have written open source that do clever things that interact with the whole suite. So if you're a developer and you'd like to learn a bit of JavaScript, have a look at AppScript. If you have got a specific use case for that merging functionality. Interestingly, the document you're editing now runs on an app script, so every 24 hours, as the document is wiped over, so the person who does a new country webinar, someone does it in Spanish, someone does it in Russian, the document's fresh for them to use. So if you do have niche functionality, no problem, just write a script for it. It's really, really, really cool functionality, crosses over the suite. Question 12. Regarding two-factor security, what happens if the phone is stolen on holidays? Does Google send the verification code to the stolen phone? That's an interesting question there. So it will be sent to the device that the user's configured there. The important thing, I guess, in this situation would be if the phone is lost on holiday, then you can still log in. The user still knows their password to log in and change the device that they've registered. And if that device is registered to the Google Apps Suite, then you could actually remotely locate it and wipe it anyway. The idea with two-factor authentication is that you need the password and the one-time password together. So that's the two factors where the word two-factor comes from there. So the user would, so it would be the doomsday scenario of someone managing to steal a password from someone, maybe through a phishing attack, and then have somehow miraculously also stealing the end device before you've had time to lock it. So those are quite unusual scenarios because normally threats come from the outside the organization and remotely from abroad. So that'd be quite an unlikely situation. As I said, if it's registered to the domain, you can wipe it remotely there. Now, does that make sense? Please clarify, add something to the end of that question if you prefer me to elaborate on that a bit more. But really the idea behind one-time passwords is that if someone, and it's a rare case, if someone does disclose their password to someone, the account is still useless without their mobile phone as well. So for me, it's adding an extra layer of security. And of course, users are always the weakest link in this. If someone's determined to be insecure and lose their phone, if someone's determined to get in, it's probably what this does is just make it extremely difficult and makes it a lot more secure than on-premise solutions. But of course, never impossible. I just say that's the security level we use here in Google, and it's phenomenally high. And I'd please do write if you need any clarification on that. Can we get the slides of this presentation? Yep. What I can do is add a link in. I've changed it around a bit. There's a marketing version that I can pop a link into below, and what I'll do is I'll get that link now, and I'll pop it in the link below. So I'm pleased that you like the presentation so much you want a copy of it. That's interesting. We've got a few minutes left. If you've got any extra questions, please do let me know. I should have probably covered at the end for the people who had to run, so thanks for everyone who's managed to stick around. Clearly some of you are Google Apps customers already because of the sort of questions you've asked me, but for those who are new and you're doing this as an exploratory webinar, the next steps, if you're interested in signing up, would be to go to, I'm going to add the link at the bottom of the presentation here, would be go to http google.co.uk/a. Probably where most of you signed up for this presentation, so you've been to this site already. And now there's a big green button that says get started. That will allow you to trial the Google Apps Suite for up to 10 employees for 30 days. I really recommend jumping on there, especially if you're you're an administrator there. Have a look at what it really looks like to administer the suite. Get a few people on, a few users sharing documents with each other, and you get some time to sample that. If that 10 user limit is too small, if you're a firm that has 20 or more employees, then don't hesitate to give us a call. If you click the contact sales button, there's a line for those small businesses that are 20 employees and upwards. We can provide you a bit more closer support and put you in the right direction there about how to test it effectively if that 10 user limit is indeed too small for you. So yes, so head over to google.co.uk/A. Let me just find those slides for you. I'll add it in as a link. If there's any more questions, please do pop it in the bottom there. So I've just managed to locate internally the slides for this document, for the slides for this presentation. It's actually a really nice interactive deck that one of my colleagues put together. It encourages you to jump into those demo documents that are on the next to the YouTube video and make changes to them there. And he made all of this demo through Google. Through the Google Apps Suite. He ran a script that wipes it every 24 hours if you need to. It allows you to change the documents, and then the next viewer is unaffected by that. So feel free to jump on and look at those slides there. So that final question coming there is: do you expect SMEs to be using Google Partners to support them in the use of Google Apps? It's up to the end user there. So Google Apps works out of the box, no problem. I managed to set up a company in 10 minutes. Just adding a user is 3 clicks. Switching AMX records isn't a pain. It's really something that can be done out of the box there by the end user. Especially, I mean, for me, I'm tech savvy. I've done this before, so I felt very confident in going ahead and doing that. If the word MX record scares you, then we've got 2 layers of support. Every customer, be you one person, be you up to the Guardian, a big firm, you will get 24-hour technical support at no extra cost. So there's an 020 number, it's a London number. Just ring in there, and on a case-by-case basis, we're happy to spend as much time with you as you need to get that working, if you're confident enough to go in there and be guided by us. Alternatively, if you want extra services such as training, if you want process management, if you want everything to be switched over for you, then we have a really extensive partner network in the UK and in the Netherlands, over in Ireland too. We've got on our website, google.com/A, there is a partners button. It's a nice little tool that finds out who deploys Google Apps near you there. So if you are over 20 employees and and you want to be matched with the right partner, that would be a good reason to call us in the sales department, and we can help you choose the best person to be in touch with. But if you've got a really competent and savvy IT department that likes to challenge, then feel free to go for it for yourself there. I'll go on there. We've got a really good questioner who's pushing me on two-factor security, as I would be if I was in this webinar. And the question is, but if I lose my phone abroad, how can I log into the browser to reset my password without the access key? I'm very pleased I've got an answer for you. We have we allow your users to nominate an alternative telephone number. So you can have a landline, and what happens is Google rings this number and reads you a code. Or even more, you can print off something called rescue codes, which are codes which you can keep secure, maybe in a wallet, maybe in a safe, and those are one-time passwords that can only be used once, as the name implies. So if you've really lost all means to get in, you've still got a piece of paper printed with one-time passwords printed on them. And if you lose that piece of paper, you can go into Google and reset those codes. So yes, the worst case scenario is you lose everything. Now, Google still does have an answer for that. If you've lost all access to your domain there, you can log in. There's a button that says "Can't access my account." For a domain administrator, if you can prove to us that you own the Google Apps for Business domain that you're running, so if it's yourcompany.com, you can prove to us that you own yourcompany.com, then we can reset the password for you and let you regain access there. So you're never locked out, and there's always support available for you there. Brilliant. I think we're just running out of time there. So as I mentioned, the next steps for anyone interested would be to start a trial by going to google.com/a, and I'm going to copy that and put that at the top of the presentation there. I've just noticed, Bjorn, you joined us from Cambridge in the UK. Nice. Thanks for adding that. I was there on the weekend, actually. Very nice weather, stunning part of the country. Anyone who hasn't visited Cambridge yet, I'd absolutely recommend it. So yes, next steps, google.co.uk/a, and the next steps would be to start a free trial if you're under 20 users. If you'd like more intensive support from us and you have over 20 employees in your firm, please click contact sales and give that free phone number a call. Me and my team are there to help you there. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I appreciate you spending an hour out of your day to come and listen to what we have to say. And if you get on very well with Google Apps, please tell friends and family. We're often spread by good words. So if you like what we do, please pass it on. And thank you very much for your time again. Bye-bye.